Hello again. I've been rereading Through the Looking Glass recently, the sequel to Alice in Wonderland, and I was particularly enchanted with the chapter about Humpty Dumpty. I shall return to what he has to say on the nature of language in a little while. Whenever I'm called a racist, the first thing I try to do is find out what the person making this accusation actually means by the word racism. Then I can decide whether or not I fit in with their definition, whether or not, according to what this person thinks, I am a racist. In other words, we can talk about it. It has so far been a hopeless enterprise because it seems that even asking the question is something only a racist would do. In other words, asking what is racism is a racist act in itself. One person complained that I was seeking what he described as an absolutist definition of a concept which was incapable of being clearly defined, which struck me as utterly bizarre. All words in the English language, from simple ones like cat or dog, table or chair, all the way through to complex and abstract political ideas, can be simply defined. If it were not so, then rational debate would be impossible, because we could never be sure that the person to whom we were speaking meant the same thing by the word that we do ourselves. And that's why we have dictionaries, of course. Imagine if we were talking about cats, and then you found out that when I said the word cat, I actually meant what you call a table. It would make any conversation, even clear thinking, impossible. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Take an idea like capitalism. If we look in a dictionary, oh look, I happen to have here the Oxford Dictionary of English. If we look in this dictionary, we will find a clear and simple definition of the word capitalism, it's what the concept of capitalism actually means, what it entails. Let's have a look. Here we are. Capitalism. An economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. You see, it takes just 24 words to explain unambiguously what is meant by the word capitalism. It's the same with socialism and fascism, but when it comes to racism, it seems that this is not possible, and that racism means whatever the speaker chooses the word to mean. This is why I'm reminded of Humpty Dumpty in Through the Looking Glass, because he decided for himself what the word, whatever word he was using, meant. So, let's have a look and see if I can find. Right, this is what Humpty Dumpty said in Through the Looking Glass. When I use a word, Humpty Dumpty said in a rather scornful tone, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less. The question is, said Alice, whether you can make words mean so many different things. The question is, said Humpty Dumpty, which is to be master. That's all. In other words, for Humpty Dumpty, he uses words in very idiosyncratic ways to mean whatever he wants them to mean. And this is precisely how anti-racists feel about their favourite word, racism. It means whatever they want it to mean, and they refuse point blank to be tied down by any clear or unambiguous definition. This means that the adjective racist is applied to practically any situation or person of whom such people disapprove or with whom they disagree. Because they refuse to tell you what they mean by racism, they can safely describe anybody or anything as racist. This disturbing state of affairs has spread now to the police and even to British law. Some viewers may have seen the news that a Conservative MP had been charged with a racially aggravated public order offence. Dear me, what on earth can he have been doing? Was he shouting abuse at black people? Using offensive racial slurs for those from Pakistan? Of course, it was nothing of the kind. MP Bob Stewart had been pestered by a Bahraini who was living in exile in this country and who urged him to condemn the current regime in Bahrain. It is alleged that he was irritated by this man. Bob Stewart supports a Bahraini regime, and told the man, "Go back to Bahrain." Now, by any normal meaning of the word racist, this does not, of course, constitute racial abuse. If I happen to dislike Julian Assange, say, and I met him in the street and told him to go back to Australia, this would not be racist abuse. Being Australian is not a race or an ethnic group. In the same way, if I was ticked off with a Swiss person I met and said, "Oh, why don't you go back to Switzerland?" that wouldn't be racist either. The Swiss are a nationality, not an ethnicity or race. In the same way, Bahrain is a nation, not an ethnic group. Of course, had he called the man a dirty Arab, say, then that would have been racist abuse, but he did no such thing. This is just another example of the way in which deliberate vagueness about what racism actually is means that it can be applied to almost any person or situation which one dislikes. Racism is unique in the English language as being the only word which can never be accurately defined by anybody.